Hello, and thanks for joining me for another board meeting recap. I'm CJ Anderson, Superintendent of the School District, and we're going to talk about our Tuesday, May 5th board meeting. First of all, happy Teacher Appreciation Week and really Staff Appreciation Week for this week. Super appreciate everyone and all you do for our kids, for our schools, for our families, and just our school community as a whole. For our board meeting on the 5th, we started out with an introduction of our student board member, who's Dylan Clark from Spring Creek High School. Excellent board member and contributor to our conversations throughout the whole meeting. We also got to recognize our Best in Show recipients from the Elko County School District Art Show. Those students were presented by Miss Amy Drost, who's the art teacher at Elko High School. And our two Best in Show recipients were Mackenzie Abalos from Carlin Combined School, and she won the 8th grade and below category. And then Laika Samar from Elko High School won the high school category for Best in Show. The board congratulated those winners, and we got to hear about just the great art show in general. So thank you so much to Ms. Dross and all the art teachers in our district for putting that show on and showcasing. I was able to visit the art show and see the excellent work those kids contributed. So congrats to everyone who participated, and another great way to highlight and showcase the arts that we have in our school district. Also got to hear a wonderful presentation from the Mountain View Elementary School's Sprout Scouts. They gave a presentation not only on what they do as part of their club and their organization, but also highlighted a kind of a refresh that they're doing with their garden area out at the school, and just love the extension of the learning from the classroom into the environment. Kids got to talk about the excellent lessons they're learning and the different topics they're embracing and enjoying, and seeing how their learning can connect to the outdoors and to mental health and to physical health and just overall well-being. And love the extra effort that's going into that effort at Mountain View. Thanks to Tamara Gowans and Angela Tarabella for working on that with our students there. Excellent efforts at Mountain View Elementary School. And then we also recognized a few of our star recipients. First was Josh Krantz from Flagview Intermediate. He's the Dean of Students there. We also got to recognize Elizabeth Smith, thank you, sorry, Elizabeth Smith, and she's a teacher at West Wendover Elementary. And then we also recognize Maria Luna, who is the nurse at West Wendover High School and Middle School. Apologies to Elizabeth. Then we went into our items from the discussion and action. We had a quick resolution to augment a budget. That was something we've been talking about in light of our budget conversations, which shifted $500,000 to help our general fund, so to augment the Buildings and Sites Fund. And then we also had a good discussion about the recommendation for changes to our self-funded insurance plan. This is something that we've been working on for years and continuing to try to chip away at to get our self-insurance fund to pay back the general fund the money that it owes. This time around, we had quite a few changes that are going to result in significant savings for our school district to both keep up with the kind of natural increases in insurance rates, as well as chipping away at that money that's owed to the general fund. So I'm gonna briefly just read through those right now, but I would encourage you to. There's a link on the recap here as well, where you can see each of those in detail and what that means, depending on if you're on the PPO plan or the high deductible plan. So the changes were as follows. This is a quick summary. Again, make sure you look more detailed. So we'll have a $20 proportional monthly increase to active dependent tiers, which is going to take effect on July 1st. There will be increases to our annual deductibles and annual out-of-pocket maximums for both plans, the PPO and the high deductible plan. That'll take effect on August 1st. There will be increase to the cost sharing for emergency room and rehabilitation services on the PPO plan, and that'll take effect on August 1st. Increases to individual and family prescription drug deductibles for the PPO plan, which will take place on August 1st. $10 increase to prescription co-pays for all tiers and RX Care Nexus. The effective dates of those are going to vary, but will be implemented as soon as possible for all of the Carelon RX items, and co-pay changes will take effect on August 1st. And then we will be working with Optimed Infusion Program, and that'll go into effect as soon as we're able to kind of negotiate and get that settled. So there's a lot there. I summed it up pretty quickly. The end result is about $3.8 million in savings to our insurance plan for next year. That's all projected. And like I said, this is a very quick overview. I would encourage you to talk to your site rep at your school from your union leadership, also your union, your general union leadership across the district. And as always, our Human Resources Department and LP Insurance are always happy to answer those questions as well. Lots of resources to help understand all that. And of course, we will have plenty of communication about when these things go into effect, how those will impact, because that's going to change for every person depending on what your insurance plan looks like. But big thanks to the Insurance Oversight Committee for helping identify ways we can both find savings but also remain competitive with the other school districts in our region and throughout the state. So those were all approved and will go into effect at the dates that I shared. The next one, we talked about proposed revisions to policy IDFB, which had to do with interscholastic athletics, and this has to do with adding the pay to participate fee to our current policy about eligibility to participate in athletics. And so that was approved, and going into next school year, we'll be sure to communicate that with all of our student athletes and all of our students at our high schools for what that's going to look like. Again, something I keep pointing out is we're not talking about a ton of money that this is going to generate. It's not really meant to be a massive cost savings, but something that can help a little bit with our general fund that supplements so much to support athletics in our district, and we recognize the importance of that. So moving on to 4.04, that was proposed revisions to policy JDFH, which has to do with discipline for homeless and foster students, to make sure that's in line with new legislation from the last session. And so that was approved last night and will go into effect, and we'll see those details kind of interwoven into our discipline policies and matrix for next school year. 4.05 was a revisit of the letter to legislators and legislative candidates from our school board, and we made some minor adjustments to the proposed version from last meeting, and so that is they've accepted that, and we're going to make sure that goes out to all of our legislators and legislative candidates going into this election cycle and into the next legislative session. We approved the proposed board meeting calendar for next school year, the 26-27 school year, and that'll look an awful lot like it did this year, with some change in the cadence of locations when we're off-site out of Elko, but that has been shared across different avenues, and we'll make sure that's on our website pretty soon here, and we start to plan for those board meetings for next year. And then the last was a great discussion around the Nevada Association of School Boards has a conference every year, kind of at the end of the year, that our board trustees attend, and some of our district leadership attends as well, and they put a call out for presentations, and our board discussed that. The discussion really started to revolve around the many different ways we're seeing excellent student success in our district, whether that's through CTE programs or through our CTSOs or through Hope Squad, really lots of ways. And so we want to highlight those student successes and share them with the state, and hopefully have other people be able to duplicate those bright spots of the amazing work that you, our staff, and our students do in our district. And then, so that was all of our discussion and action items. And then from my superintendent's report, I don't often share everything from that, but I did spend quite a bit of time acknowledging individual students and student teams from our various CTSOs, which are our career and technical student organizations. I'm not going to read all those names again, but we have had so many students from our high schools across the district participate and represent very well, from FFA, from FBLA, from FCCLA, and from HOSA, and just, again, doing such a great job. Lots of state champions and lots of national qualifiers, and so I read all of those names at the meeting, and there's a link to all of those, and we're just so proud of our students and grateful to our sponsors and teachers who support them in the many ways they do. We also, I just want to acknowledge again the visit that we had from both Deputy Superintendent Tori Palmer from the Nevada Department of Education, as well as Dr. Victor Wakefield, our state superintendent. Really appreciate them taking the time to come out here to Elko County and really appreciative of the schools that hosted us that day. I know it's can be unnerving or a little bit of a different schedule for the day, but we really appreciate the accommodations, and both of our visitors were extremely impressed with and pleased with the many great things that are happening at our schools in the Elko County School District. So no surprise to me or to any of us here at Central Office. Everyone does such a great job, and we're so proud of everything that happens. We're going to continue to highlight those things as we move forward. Working through the things we know we need to work through, but there's way more good than bad, and there's so much positive to acknowledge. And with that, I just want to conclude again with an acknowledgement of Teacher Appreciation Week and Staff Appreciation Week. We've been able to acknowledge teachers. Today is School Nurses Appreciation Day. Later this week is the School Communicator Appreciation. Last week there was appreciation for our bus drivers and those in transportation. This is a great time to just acknowledge, as we wrap up the school year, that none of this happens easily, none of it happens carelessly, it's all intentional, and it's very focused and driven by the good-hearted nature of all of our staff and people who care about kids and families so much. So from the bottom of my heart, and I know from our Board of Trustees, there's so much deep appreciation for everything you do. So thank you so much. Thank you for tuning into a board meeting recap, and we'll see you at the next one. Thank you.